Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode of This Just In. I guess that's what we're calling it. We're trying to make this a thing. Maybe we'll get a time for it. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of really interesting things to chat. But of course, we have to do the welcomes to it. So first of all, if you are new here on YouTube, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to join part of that YouTube family. I think that there's a way to do that. I'm not really sure. I'm still learning the YouTube side of things because I've been on TikTok mostly. Also, have to get through the promotional stuff, right? This is what I do now full time. This is what I do for a living. So I need support from people like you guys. And I don't like to just say, hey, give me money. So, it's the subscribes and it's things that you guys get something in return. So the first thing I'm going to say is obviously I have a podcast. I've talked about this quite a bit. Go link in my bio to get it. It's called 50 Words for Murder. When I first started, we were doing one episode a month. Now what we're doing is all the interviews that you hear on here, we are taking that audio and transferring it over to there so you can listen to it in the car. Plus, we're still going to be doing the normal, podcast that we did do. But that way, if you're on the go, you can't sit in front of a screen. It's another way for you to look at it. The other things I want to make sure that we chat about for you guys before we get into this, because we do have some really interesting updates today, including on Riley Strain and something to tell you guys about Caleb Harris and a few others. But again, for those of y'all who probably know, I have written 2 books now. This one is called Boundaries. If you are no contact, limited contact with a family member, that is what this book is for. There is no other resource like it if you have kids and you're trying to explain that to them. This is basically a way to explain no contact in a way that doesn't vilify that person, takes your emotions out of it, makes it easy for kids to understand, and then goes into teach them about boundaries. Boundaries are very important. You want kids to have that. I feel like this directly correlates with the true crime and stuff that we talk about because we don't want our kids to become victims. So giving them a voice, teaching them boundaries, incredibly important, which also then goes into the second book, which is called Surprises Are Okay, Secrets Are Not. and it does exactly that. Surprises have an end date, secrets don't. Adults should never be teaching kids or asking kids to keep a secret for them. Kids should always know to tell a trusted adult if that happens. And this book gives you the tool to do that. Uh, at the end of this book, there's also a question that you can spark a dialogue with your child. With my 4.5-year-old, it worked for about 30 minutes. We had a conversation, and you can go into things that you want to talk about as far as secrets or any specifics. Technically, the books, according to my publisher, are rated 4 to 8, but I can tell you for boundaries, I've had people, even adults, get them for themselves, and they've gotten something out of it. And I really, truly think that the secret book really could go to 10, 11 to have some of those lessons. So with all of that done, um, there's something that I want to kind of start off on this. Let me get this pulled up. I'm going to pull up an old article, and there's a reason that I'm going to share this article with you. I'm very sad to be sharing this article with you too. It's this one right here. Okay. It's not supposed to be that. Let's close that pop-up. Mixing Texas girl Audrey Cunningham remembered as a precious, gentle, kind during memorial service. Now, this article is about a month and a half old. So why am I bringing this up? It actually has nothing to do with Audrey directly, but indirectly. During this case, well, first of all, if you don't know this case, what basically happened was a man who lived with the dad and the grandparents, the grandmother, abused and then took Audrey's life and tossed her in a river. And during that time, I was in touch with the maternal grandfather. His name was Mark Cedars. Very, very nice man. And he had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago, got out of the hospital, went back to work. And last night was at the Walmart Academy because he worked for Walmart. And I don't know exactly what happened yet, but I know that he passed away. I'm going to guess it was a coronary. So please, keep them in your thoughts. If you're religious, please keep them in your prayers. This is a family, y'all, that does not have much. It's very little means. They did everything they could with Audrey. They couldn't even they could barely afford to go to the funeral, but they made it happen. So I'm trying to get details. I'm giving Mrs. Cedars the opportunity to kind of, I think it's maybe a while for she digests this, but I don't want to call her right away with this is going on and see what we can do to maybe help them. So I wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of that. Because y'all, I'm just absolutely, I talked to Mark a bunch during this. He was a sweet man. He was a good man. He takes care of Audrey's little half sister, and it's just absolutely tragic. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that. So the next thing that we want to talk about, though, is let's go into Riley Strain, because there is actually a pretty big update in regard to Riley. If you've seen my videos, you probably already know this, but let me throw this up here anyways. Okay. You can read that headline, guys. It's what it basically says is, let me make it a little more even. There you go. Riley Strain's mom says that he texted her about the drink tasting odd. Okay. There we go. Apparently during the night that this happened, okay, Riley texted his mom saying that he ordered a rum and Coke and that it tasted weird. And basically said that it tasted like barbecue. And his mom says, well, that sounds awful. You probably shouldn't drink it. And he said, well, it actually sounds good, but it's not. He kind of, I guess, joked back. I think that that's interesting. Now, I don't know what the taste of some type of substance would be, but I think that it goes back to a theory that has been, that I personally, my personal opinion that I've had when you've seen the videos of him, I believe that there was some type of a substance slipped into Riley's drink. That is my opinion. That is not a fact. It's just my opinion. But I find that to be very interesting. And this came out today. This came out actually probably 10, maybe 15 minutes ago, not even that long ago. So I wanted to make sure that I came on and showed you guys this because I think that it's very interesting. It's very interesting. The other thing, okay, we're not done with Riley. We're not done. So the next thing with him is that there was a witness had come forward. Okay. That basically said that he was the last, or I don't know if it was a he, but they were the last person to see Riley alive, the last interactions, and gave an account as to what happened that night. Now, that information has not been released to the public, so I don't know what that is, but apparently, and this was about a week ago, And apparently this person has recanted his statement or their statement. I don't know what to make of that. I hope that we'll learn more. I know that the Strain family is going on News Nation tonight. I do plan to stream that for anybody that is interested. It's going to be at 9 o'clock Central Time. And then after that, Tuesday night, I typically do a sub live. So we will, after that, we'll go to the sub live. But we're going to stream that tonight for anybody who wants to watch it on TikTok. It's not something that I can do on YouTube because of copyright issues that you don't really have on TikTok. So, but I think that there's going to be a lot more information that we find out tonight about Riley. I'm very interested in learning about this. So hopefully we find out some more pretty soon, because this is not over. It's been made very clear that this is not over. The other thing that I want you guys to be made aware of, I've talked about this a couple times when we've talked about Riley, and I've talked about it when I talked about Eric Oakes, Adam Oakes' dad, and his family, is these people, Mother's Day's coming up. They don't have their children anymore. They had only had one child. Not that would make a difference if they had multiple, but they're going to have nothing for Mother's Day, and I want to try to do something nice for them. So expect in the next few days, possibly beginning part of next week, I will have some details for you guys on that. Make sure to follow along, subscribe for that. So we'll find out hopefully more what's going on. Now, the other thing that I kind of want to share with you in regard, kind of piggybacking off of Riley, is this, and it's going to appear to be promotion. And I've actually had this for a while. I was asked to make this a while ago when I'm trying to get it pulled up here. Give me a second, guys. Here it is. When everything was going on with Riley, because look, I live in Nashville, and I didn't even know until we made this video, all the comments and everything that was going on, that a lot of people, had issues at some of these bars with things being slipped into their drinks. And Luke Bryant's apparently is one of the big ones. And so I was like, well, we need to put together a kit to help keep people safe, for parents to send to their children. And I titled this list, women's safety list, but it really could go for guys too, as we can see that for Riley, the importance of it. And so let me tell you what's in here. Let me tell you what you're looking at here. Okay. So starting on the far left, the nightcap, that is a scrunchie / drink cover. An Apple AirTag, you know what that is, but Apple AirTag goes with the thing that's under the scrunchie air cover, or cover, sorry. And this is something that clips into your pants, or you can slip it onto your bra or inside your shirt, or something where nobody can see, and allows you to place an AirTag on you. So if your phone gets lost, stolen, thrown, this is something that you can be wearing that people are not going to know. It's very, very small. I actually am ordering some for my 4-year-old in case, she gets lost, because we have a bunch of AirTags laying around. So I want y'all to be aware of that. The things going right, the Phil Medi G-Checks, these are things about the size of like maybe a fingernail, and it takes one drop. You take it from the drink, you can put it on there. It will change colors from that brown to green if there is some type of substance in the drink. And then the others, you have a 2-in-1, pepper spray / stun gun is the pink one, and the other one's just a pepper spray with an alarm if you don't want to stun them. So I want to let you guys know, if you want to go to my link in my bio, which is justinomtiktok.com, scroll down to the Amazon things or Amazon favorite things. This is where all of these are. But if you have a kid in college, or you go out to the bars, I would say at least get the AirTag holder and the things that check for for substances in your drinks. I think that those two things are really easy. You can put one of these on the back of your cell phone before you go in. And again, just a light tap on it. So just to let y'all know that this exists. I should have promoted these a long time ago because they are important, but I didn't. So now we are. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is Sebastian Rogers and Seth Rogers. So there's not necessarily an update. So this is going to be really, really quick. But Seth, you guys might have heard me talk about yesterday, has a petition. You can again go to my website, justinontiktok.com. To that website, you'll see at the very top of the link section this petition. I mean, you'll click on it, and then you'll see this petition. Basically, what the attempt of this petition is, it was done by Seth. You can see his name right here. Is he wants the FBI to take over this investigation. He's not overly confident in the way that Sumner County, Hendersonville, the TBI is handling this. He does have somebody at the FBI who he's talking to. The FBI is involved as well as the Secret Service, but they're not lead, they're not point. So if you'd like to help them out, it takes literally 1 second of your time. It doesn't cost any money. You can go again, justontiktok.com, scroll down to the links. You will see it, click on it, sign it. We've had a lot of growth. When he sent it to me, I think we were at like 1,600 signatures. I've been promoting it. I think a couple others haven't. You can see we're over that 10,000, probably 11,000 mark if I refreshed it. But let's refresh it and see if it says. And of course, it's not working right now. Maybe we crashed it. There it goes. 10, 10, 235. So now there's something. Go give that a signature. Help that out. You know, it's something. It's something. So go help stuff out. Now, there are two missing people that I want to chat about. And then we have some really interesting stories that we're going to talk about. I'll tell you what's kind of coming up. But a lot of y'all are probably aware of the TikToker Kyle Marissa Roth, who has passed away at the age of 36. I want to talk about that. And normally I don't talk about things like this when it comes to other social media creators, but this one I find very strange, and I want to make sure that y'all are aware of it. Josh Duggar was in the news again, Lorena and John Wayne Bobbitt, and we have a couple things to talk about with O.J. Simpson that are very interesting. So before I do, though, what I want to share with y'all is a couple Amber Alerts that are out. So this one right here is very strange. I don't have a lot of details because this one literally came out about 5 minutes before I got on. So I had to do a quick read, a quick scan to kind of see what's going on. And when I get more information, I'll make sure to post the missing poster on my Instagram, on my X, so anybody can take it and share it. Please do. This is out of Montgomery, Alabama. You have 5-year-old Caden Perryman and 13-year-old Jenny Gunn, and they are believed to be in a 2011 Chevy Equinox. Now, when this was originally reported as an endangered child alert, as an abduction, it's now an Amber Alert. It was believed that both children were missing, but apparently evidence has surfaced to show that Jenny apparently abducted Caden and is supposed to be, as a 13-year-old, driving this 2011 Chevy Equinox, license plate 6357BL5. So if you are in Alabama, in Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, surrounding states, please keep an eye out for this. Keep an eye out for them. They are considered endangered. It is an Amber Alert, but there's not a lot of information out right now. I'm going to get a chance to read. So what I will share with y'all is Caden is 3'3", about 45 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Obviously, both of them are black. Jenny is 5'3", about 100 pounds, brown hair. It says brown hair, black hair. So I'm guessing it's supposed to say brown eyes and black hair, but that's misprint, whatever, Alabama. So please keep your eyes out for them. One of the challenges that we have when it's people of color is they don't get shared a lot. So please do take some extra time and effort to share this, if it's on the Facebook page, and get out there, because they really don't get the attention that they need. And it's unfortunate. Which leads us to the next one, which is one that we talked about yesterday. 15-year-old Alexandria Chapman, who disappeared from Germantown High School around 2:00 on Friday. It has not been issued. She has had a endangered child alert issued, but not an Amber Alert issued. She is 15 years old, but apparently she has some mental challenges that would make it difficult for her to return home safely. I did post about her yesterday. I want to make sure that we talk about her today to keep her in the front of your mind. She was last seen at Germantown High School, which is outside of Memphis, about 2:00. She was not seen leaving the school. So whatever happened was not picked up that way. But Germantown's a very nice area. It's just very strange. So if you live in that area, around that area of Memphis, that whole West Tennessee into Mississippi, please keep an eye out on her as well. I've tried to reach out to the family. I've not been successful yet, but I'd like to get y'all more information. As soon as we have that, we will share that. So with that being said, let's move on to Kyle Marissa Roth. I don't know if y'all are familiar with this. This was not a creator that I followed. Okay. Just not my type of content. What she basically did was she dealt with controversial celebrity gossip. Typically, she talked about people like J-Lo and Taylor Swift, the royal family, And basically what it was is it was unconfirmed rumors, meaning that these are rumors that the celebrity and their agents aren't allowed or they're instructed to not confirm or deny. She was 36 and she died unexpectedly. And if you look at the articles about her, um, she talks about the fact that she had past health problems, and you read about it's mostly car accident, things like that. And typically, when somebody passes away, if it was a health issue, it would say something like, after a long battle with X or this happened. But apparently, the family is very unclear and unsure as to what has happened to her and why, and are searching for answers. And hopefully, we'll have an update soon. So that's something that I do plan to continue to post on. So make sure that you guys, stay tuned for that. But it's weird. There was even at a point, and I'm not making any accusations here. This is again not the type of content that I cover, but one of her videos that she made regarding J-Lo, she basically even said, if something happens to me, J-Lo did it. At one point, she had made videos about certain celebrities had her account, I think it was at 750,000, something like that, taken down. So she was rebuilding from there, couldn't get it back because of the things that she posted about. So all of a sudden, she ends up dead. 36-year-olds don't just die. It's strange. I'm not trying to put any rumors or anything out there, but it's very strange. And I just think it's something that we should pay a little bit of attention to as more information comes out. So now let's talk about Josh Duggar. This is one of these conversations that is not overly YouTube friendly. So we're going to keep it very, very high level. On TikTok, I will go into more of a video, but the irony, y'all, the irony here. Josh Duggar once boycotted a gas station because they distributed certain types of magazines before he became convicted SO 20 years later. So when he was about 12 years old, apparently he and some of his friends and family got together and they created these Christian pamphlets to distribute and get people to boycott this gas station because they sold these magazines. And, as a 12-year-old, I'm quite sure you couldn't necessarily foresee whatever happened, but I think that it does give you a bit of a glimpse into the trauma that maybe they endured in their cult style kind of life. And I'm not saying that Christianity is a cult. That's not the connection that I'm making, even a little bit. I'm saying that the Duggar's life in particular, specifically, is kind of cultish. So I'll be diving more into this on TikTok. But the irony, guys, is just absolutely astounding on that one. So, John Wayne Bobbitt and Lorena Bobbitt. I made a video and I packed it with as many puns as I possibly could. We're going to just cut to the chase instead of giving you a whole background on this. I'm just going to share kind of what happened. John Wayne Bobbitt is back in the news. If you don't know the story about what happened, the headline kind of shares it to you. In 1993, his wife decided to cut a certain body part off of him and throw it out in a field. They were able to find it, reattach it, and that was 30 years ago. Well, apparently he had to have all 10 of his toes amputated, and it has nothing to do with Lorraine. It has nothing to do with any type of domestic violence or abuse, because that was the reason why Lorena did it, by the way, according to her. But it was because he was a Marine in the 1980s. He was stationed at Camp Lejeune. If you guys haven't seen all of the things about, if you were at Camp Lejeune and have health issues, I see those all the time with all the news articles and stuff that we read. But there was contaminated water that has caused all kinds of challenges. And basically with him specifically, he had, what was it called? I want to make sure I say it right, but it was basically like polyneuropathy, something like that. Basically, his appendages, he had a form of polyneuropathy and had to basically get them amputated. So that being said, I feel like this brings up an interesting conversation that we should talk about with Lorena Bobbitt and with John Wayne Bobbitt. So I actually reached out today. We'll see if anything comes of it, to Lorena Bobbitt. She actually has a foundation now that is for survivors of domestic violence. And so I reached out to her asking her if she'd like to come on and do an interview with her ex-husband being back in the news. She still does use her married name for the purpose of, speaking out against domestic violence and trying to help other people get away from negative situations. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully she'll say yes. I've been kind of surprised some of the people who do say yes to these. And I think that it would be a great interview and great to talk about for her. But yeah, this guy, man, he's just not meant to count to 21, y'all. Uh, he just keeps getting parts of his body just, you know, amputated off. What we'll say. We'll say about that. So yesterday we talked about OJ Simpson and his will and the fact that the executor of his will basically said that the Goldman family was not going to get a dime. For those of y'all who didn't get a chance to see yesterday, basically what happened uh, was, even though OJ was acquitted of the murder of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, he lost the civil suit and was found um, liable for wrongful death. And the families were awarded 33.5 million, which OJ never paid a dime of. And at this point, that number with interest and everything has accrued to over $100 million. Now with OJ being dead, there's an estate. And apparently what happened was the executor, who's also OJ's longtime attorney, got fired up and said that he was going to make sure that do everything in his power to make sure that the Goldman family does not receive a dime of OJ's money. And for the last several years, OJ's money has been kept very, very secret. They've not really let anybody know what the financial situation is. And I'm guessing it all goes to the civil suit not wanting to pay this money. But now he's gone, so debts are going to have to be settled. They're going to be able to, as a creditor, as a debtor, put it in front of them and hopefully get paid. However, he was going to fight it tooth and nail. This was yesterday. Well, today, apparently, he has walked that back a little bit. Apparently, he said that he is going to make sure that he works with them and they get, whatever money's coming to them, they're going to be put in line. But apparently what happened, he can see what he says here. He says he's going to be hyper transparent. He basically said that within hours after OJ's death, the Goldman family was talking crap about OJ, and he got fired up. He took it personal and basically said that he wasn't going to allow them to get any money or do everything in his power to make sure that they didn't. But now I guess he's calmed down, realized how bad of a look that is, and has walked it back. So I want to make sure I talked about that because we talked about this yesterday. And speaking of OJ, you can't think about OJ Simpson without also thinking about what? The world famous, that was made famous in the 90s, Ford Bronco that was used in the chase. Now, for anybody who's interested in seeing this Bronco, I've seen it in person. It's in Pigeon Forge at Alcatraz East, which, if you are into true crime, it is an awesome crime museum. I am not being paid to say this. I personally like it, and they have it there. The car that you can see in the background, I think, was John Dillinger's car. I think they also have like one of Ted Bundy's Beetles and some other, just a whole bunch of really interesting true crime stuff. Also that gives really bad vibes. But they had the Bronco, and apparently the Bronco is going to be sold. So it has been on loan at this museum since 2016. And so you have limited time to see it, but it is going to be going up for sale. I don't know how. They haven't really given too much of information on that. But I would recommend that if you want to see it, to get out to Pigeon Forge, as soon as you can, go to Alcatraz East. It's definitely worth the money because it's going to be going up to sale and end up possibly in a private collection, another museum. Who knows? So that's basically what we have going on today. The last couple things that I want to make sure that I chat with you guys about. I did some promotions at the beginning, and again, I'm really bad about this stuff. When I have stuff to share it with you guys, and a lot of times you guys like to remind me, like, "Hey, we don't know that you have this." Blah 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 blah. So again, if you go to my website, justontiktok.com, you scroll down to the link section. I do have a merch store. This is what it looks like. You click on, you got the books there, which you can purchase here. We also have all these fun little pins. The pins are, if you buy 3 of them, you get free shipping. And then we have all these different collections. These are the enamel pins she got from her trauma. Girls just want to have fundamental rights. And just because you see stickers, these are just the things that I use to show the collection. Let's just go coffee because murder is wrong, right? So these are all the things that you have: clothing, stickers, water bottles. So we have all of this stuff and all these different sayings, whatever, notebooks as well. We're able to have journals. So yeah, that's what we have. You can go look at that. Time Too Clumsy to Be Around Feral Masculinity, all of these other things. So just so y'all know, this does exist, Justin on TikTok.com. So anyways, please do remember that Riley Strain's family is going to be on News Nation tonight. As I said earlier, you can't stream that on YouTube, but I do plan to stream it on TikTok for anybody who wants to watch that. And Caleb Harris, let's talk about that, because there's not been a lot of Caleb Harris updates lately. And so I've been speaking with Tony Mathis. Tony Mathis is the spokesperson for Caleb's family. And we're going to be doing a interview. It's going to be on TikTok. They're very particular about social media and the way things are being done. They only want to work with a couple creators, myself and Cindy, who is 716 Girl in ATL on TikTok, who's a wonderful creator. I strongly encourage people to follow her. They really only want to work with a couple of us. They've now brought Pascal into it because that was under a big recommendation of mine. But they really want to do TikTok. They didn't want to do YouTube and TikTok. So what I can share with you for my YouTube peeps, those of y'all who don't do TikTok, rest assured that I will download the live and make sure that we update it, or upload it to YouTube so you guys can see it. And yeah, and also roll it over to the podcast so people can see that or listen to that as well. So hopefully we'll get some updates on Caleb Harris soon, because I do feel like we need some. I feel like there's a lot of these cases that are kind of getting stagnant, and because of that, they're losing momentum. And guys, we really can't allow that to happen. We can't allow these cases to go cold. It just baffles me that with some of these, like, I can't speak for Caleb. I know that from my conversation yesterday with them, that there is some information that the police has. I don't know what that is. It hasn't been even shared with them, but there's some information that the police has that they find important to the investigation. So maybe there's a clue. That's great. But when you look at like Sebastian Rogers, there really isn't anything for them to go off of that they've even begun to allude to. So definitely keep these cases in the forefront of your mind. Share them. The missing people, make sure to share them. And I mean, yeah, that's what we have for the day. So a lot of this stuff we'll do on TikTok as well. If you guys want to go more in depth, the ones that I wasn't allowed to really get into, there are also some topics that I can't really do on YouTube that I think are important for y'all to be aware of. So we'll make sure to chat about those as well. But one thing, let me know in the comments, drop them in the comments. Right now on the podcast, 50 Words for Murder, we'll be putting the interviews on there. I could start putting these daily recaps on there. As you can see, they're only about 30, maybe 45 minutes at times. If that's something that y'all want, if it's people who are listening to this later in the afternoon and you're like, hey, maybe I'd like to listen to this on the car ride home or something like that, or while I'm working around the house, but don't really need to watch it, let me know that in the comments. And that way I can, take that information and we can start maybe putting them out there, as soon as I get off this, rolling them over to the podcast so y'all can listen to them. Just let me know. Other than that, I appreciate y'all coming. We will be back tomorrow with some more updates. I'm going to try to do this thing every day. And we will see you guys soon. So have a good one, guys.